Alrighty, guys, welcome back. I know it's been a long time since I've recorded anything, and I've just been working on some personal projects that I cannot talk about quite yet, but I'm sure, as you guys know, they're going to be pretty huge. So, I know this is the first video back, but I have a member that's been putting in the work, and he wanted to do a one-on-one, so I'd figure let's get that out of the way. We can talk about the new updates that I've kind of made to my system, management wise. And if anything, I think we're going to talk through a few examples, a few trades I've gotten this week, and some backtests. So, yeah, let's get to it. Let's get them in the call here. Alrighty, so I have made a lot of changes to my system. And we can either walk through those, we can do a backtest, I can kind of show you. I can actually go on TradingView and show you a few examples. But mainly, number one that has changed is management. I went from moving to break even at a 1 to 2R because what I found out is that generally you'll get a trade here on a 20-minute validation. What I've noticed will generally happen is you'll get a small move, a back to break even, and then it just goes every time. So I wanted to identify what variables would lead to a point in a market where we would tap and go instead of coming back down. Like this would have been an entry right here. Instead of coming back down, at what point do we want to break even? What variables within here would lead us to not have price return? And if it does return, a simple break even, right? And so what I did for the longest time is I went through so many trade examples and I saw, okay, if I were to break even at 1 to 2R, what would be the profitability? And it was very profitable, but I didn't like the fact that a lot of times it moved me to break even and then get tapped out and then it went. And so I wanted to find some other variable, not just 1 to 2R, because that's very, it's not very, like a process, right? It's just like it comes down to where you got entered, if you got lucky on your entry kind of thing, versus now it's the understanding that's there. So like, for example, here on a trade like this, actually I did take this one today. If you go into, it's on my Discord, you'll see it there. But I took this buy stop over this high with an ATR of, I believe it was 2. And so when I jumped down into it, generally, all I would do is set an alert at 1 to 2 and then break even there. But what I started doing is I allowed the narrative to tell me what to do with this. So for example, by the time this candle had printed right here, it was an immediate break even for me. And I'll tell you why. When we're looking at the theory behind the market, for example, what I like to see is new structure being built within, because it shows the kind of number one, momentum, but number two, the buying up of the previous orders here. So I look at price action a lot deeper than you probably think, but I don't really talk about it. I look at zones like these. What is this zone representing? There was a lot of selling before buying. So this is going to be a key interest, that's a key level of interest that's going to want to be protected to some extent. And if it's not protected, more likely than not, it's going to fail. So by the moment we broke this high, which caused this range, like to tap into this range, I was break even right here. Notice how much that's going to save me in the long run, instead of waiting for a 1 to 2. And it's actually been representative. I'll go to in my backtesting. If you go look at my backtesting, you're going to see a lot more sideways, but no down anymore. Sideways, no down, sideways, no down. And that's just how it's been. And that's because instead of waiting for a 1 to 2 to break even, I break even the moment the story, the narrative is telling me to break even. If we jump to another, you won't see crazy drawdown like the way you used to. Like sideways, but no down. Sideways, no down. You see that? Like maybe 1 or 2 losses here, but it's not like a continuous loss. And so that's been the biggest change that's just done it for me. Another thing is management. I also changed my management rules quite a bit from the very beginning. I don't know if you've seen the more recent videos, but my management for this trade, for example, it's actually very specific. So I won't manage below 3RR, and I'll manage 70%. So I'm doing 70%. If you take 70% 3RR, you're going to secure at least 1RR out of the move. That's all I care about. If you do a 70% management at 2RR, you're not even scratching the surface of 1RR. So I want to cover with this one trade at least 1 loss, and that gets me through the door. So what I'll do is trail structure with a 1 to 3R 70% partial. Now, what this means is I'm going to trail it as high as I can to main structure. Earlier today, this was main structure. The moment we broke down, I took out one contract, and that was it. Very simple. And then you get to choose if you jump to hires, or you can stay in that time frame. And so what I did is I jumped to hires, and you're going to do the exact same with the remaining 30% of your position. So now I'm looking at this overall generalized structure, and I'm seeing, oh, this is like a key point right here. Something happened here. This held, this held. Money wants to protect this move, and if it comes back down into it and doesn't kind of bounce up, more likely than not, this entire position is going to fail. That's what's going to happen. So then I partialed the remaining, what was it? 2 contracts? Yeah. It was a total of 3 contracts I traded today. Partialed the remaining 2 contracts here, and that was it. Like I got stopped out. And that just paid for 3, in all, 3 losses there. So that's kind of the new management aspect of things. I'd say the biggest thing that's made an impact on me is going to be my break-even strat. Because I was already profitable, this just made me so much more profitable. Like this would have been a good entry right here. I'm going to replay to here. Good entry right here. Step down to a 5-minute. At what point would I have broken even? It's right over this high. ATR, whatever ATR is at this time, it's 2. So half of this. There you go. That's your entry at the high. Get tapped in. There we go. And then right at this point, when this candle breaks this high, I'm break even. So simple. Like it's probably not even 2RR there yet. It might be. No. Yeah. Sometimes it falls in line perfectly with the 2RR, but on this candle close, I'm break even already. And you'll see it in the back test. Like if you want to go back test some markets or something, or we can, if you go look at my Discord, you can go back into examples of trades. Like gold today, I don't know if anything played out on gold. Yeah, it got a little too choppy for me, but I was looking for longs. If I take off the replay mode. Oh, somewhere at the highs, yeah. So I was waiting for this to sideline and then build back up. Nothing happened. And then another thing, I've actually changed what my validation entry candles look like. For example, I used to take a lot of entries like these. I no longer do that for the specific, it's a very specific reason, because when you actually think about what's going on in this candle, there's too much fighting, if that makes sense. There's too much indecision for what the market's going to do next. And when I see any sort of indecision in the market like this, I just stay out. Yeah, it's probably going to go, but the other 50 times I've seen this, it doesn't go. And you're going to get chopped out. And so I like to see some good strength. Like if this candle would have closed like this at that high, then yeah, that's a perfect entry buy stop for me. I've also changed what I like to see out of the strength candles. For example, this is not a strength candle for me. This is. So this would have been a bad buy stop, a good buy stop. And back in the day, I would have taken a lot of these. And that's going to keep you out of so many bad market conditions. For example, this buy stop. For example, this buy stop. I wouldn't have taken any of these, right? Or like this one. This is weak. This is a mix of both. This is indecision and weak. Like the size of this candle matches the size of even this push right here. And so I like to see a lot of strength. Like this would have been a reasonable buy stop. Bad. If this candle would have closed here, good. Here, no entries here. Weak. Won't take anything. And so I've seen some people in the community kind of still trading the old way I used to. This would have been a phenomenal entry buy stop. That strength that comes in, that's what I love to see. This would have been okay, because you can see the size comparison to all the candles near it. That's kind of how I gauge it. I did consider using ATR value to kind of parameterize these candles. So for example, one of the metrics I try to use for data collection was seeing how far the candle had closed away from the MA and comparing that to ATR values and all that. But I kind of realized that I'd rather let my brain take control in a situation like this, let the intuition, because if you try to make it very objective and saying, oh, if it's within this much ATR, then I'll take it. I don't know. I didn't really like that, because I'd find myself thinking that I should have taken a position there, and then the ATR rule wasn't met, and then it kind of threw my intuition off. Like this, phenomenal entry right here, dude. This, absolutely not. Way too weak. And I'll see a lot of people taking entries like these. No, I like to see strength, insane strength. Otherwise, you're just staying out, and life is good. More examples, yes. And then if we want to actually dive into this candle right here, I have my either, I don't know if I mentioned this. It's either a 2 ATR, or we could say like a 2, well, yeah. So 2 RR first, or um, if new structure is built. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
like if we move to
Yeah.
RR, that's an automatic break even. But on top of that,
Hmm.
also if we build internal structure within it, that's also a break even for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's been huge. I think this new change that I've made, for example, previously I would have taken this candle, but look at the indecision in the market. Look at what happens. You probably get stopped out, and then it goes. Here, this is an okay buy stop. Maybe stopped out, maybe not. Um, like this, yes, all the way. And then if we're looking, just to give you a quick example, if we're looking at where to break even on a 5 minute, break even at this point. The moment this candle forms, if price were to reach, like it can tap in, absorb the zone, and then build back up. But if it comes any further down, that's an automatic, like this is coming to crash down very quickly. So we can
Yeah.
work through a few examples if you want. We can do a back test or something.
Yeah, I mean, we can do a backtest if you want.
And then you
But
can
I just
ask,
wanted to ask, so if I understood correctly, now you look like more into the strength candles. Basically, they don't need to be like with the wicks. They need to have a lot of like volume in them to basically take the entries. And also, what you have changes with the management, basically, I think you used to partial with like the move your basically stop loss with the market when it made like some when the money was coming in, and then you will like not use the structure that much as the factor to partial, and now you have changed that to structure one,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I'm
yeah. So it
correct.
used to be more of an RR based
Yeah.
kind of thing. Now it's actually understanding the story that it's telling you, and it's just proven itself to be so much more profitable. Those runners just go and go. Is
Yeah.
actually currently I'm doing a back test on Bitcoin, and that asset, man, it just goes and goes and goes. It moves. I don't want to say it moves differently, but like you can see here, if you catch a trade, I caught a couple of these trades. It just
Yeah.
goes and goes and goes. And so if you can allow or use that to your advantage, leverage it, then you're great. Otherwise, you're taking like a 70% partial at 1 to 3. Congratulations, you made 1 RR, but you'll let 50 go through, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a huge change. And then like today's trade, kind of want to showcase the indicator of how it helped me. Because the indicator kind of took the dub on this trade I took today. I was looking at the 20 minute, was looking very, very clean, but it, was yellow, a little bit of red. I didn't really want to touch it. The moment this turned green and I saw the green background, I'm like, I'm in, period. And look at it go. Versus if you would have taken any entry in here, so for example, this one could have been a valid buy stop, stopped out, and then it builds up. So indicators kind of been coming in clutch. Another entry here. I've missed a few really, really good entries this week just because I've been staying up late working.
Mhm.
Um,
But I mean, you still made a lot of money from all of the other markets, so I think it's fine to miss some trades sometimes.
yeah, dude, I cannot complain. And then I'm just scaling with bigger accounts, and so
Yeah, I also, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask, how do you approach, do you have like some way of some other rules for like trades which you take on prop firms? Like how do you close them? How do you manage them? Like, is
I
it?
do. Yeah, yeah. So my general rule, especially when I backtest, you'll see this actually when I do it today. Number one, all trades must happen after 6 in the morning, and all trades must close at 2 p.m. And what that means
Yeah,
is, number one, I'm only trading during New York time, which is amazing because I work my 5, 6 hours every morning and then I'm done for the day. Um,
yeah.
and what I notice is a lot of people will start to not follow that. They'll start trading Asia and all these things, just kind
Hmm.
of chasing the bag. And I think it can be a
Yeah,
very, very negative effect on their psychology, first of all, because then it turns into like, hey, I'm going to let them come to me too. Hey, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to chase after them. I'll be like 3 in the morning and they're trying to scalp a trade. And no, I believe it's very smart to number one, set your trading hours. Mine's 6 to 2 p.m. and then that's it. I've done testing on other sessions. Like if I were to stay around the clock, just working New York and Asia, I've calculated, I mean, I've done the test. My returns would be about double. So if on one asset I make 400%, I'd be making 800%. But it's not worth it. Like in the long run, you're just gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So that's my number one rule. All trades close at 2 p.m., especially with prop firms. Number three, currently on one of my accounts, I'm risking 0.2, just to give you an example. A lot of people will be risking 0.8, 1%, 1.5. I risk 0.2, keeps it very simple. For my evaluation phase, I'm risking between 0.6 and 0.8. I'll never risk more or less than that. Now, for a live funded account that you just received, generally you have a buffer. I believe it's like 6%. It changes with prop firms, but it's about 6%. And for every live trade, I risk about 0.2 to 0.4%. What that does is allows me to build a really nice buffer. So for example, this is your, how can I draw this out? This is your chart. And like here you have your max drawdown, right? And so risking 0.4, 0.2 to 0.4, if it's a larger account, I only trade the largest accounts prop firms have to offer. It just keeps it super simple. For example, I had some guy that came up to me and he said, well, why don't you just buy like 10 50K accounts? And I'm like, dude, you do
I
realize
remember that video.
you're going to have to pay the activation fee for every single one of those accounts. And each
Yeah.
account to activate is, I think, $150. So you're going to have to pay like $2,000 to activate each account. It was absurd. And so, no, I just go with the big accounts, keeps it simple. If you lose a challenge, you just buy another. You don't have to be copying all the trades over. Like, it's super, super simple. So, like, let's say this is your start. You go down 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss, 4 loss. This is actually what's going on in a challenge right now with me. 1 win, 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss. You get so close to it, and then a giant win, and then boom, boom, boom. That's actually what's happening to me. So what would happen if you risk more? Well, if you risk more, these would be deeper, deeper, and then by this trade, you would have already lost the account. If you risk a lot less, you get a lot more cushion. And then once I get to, I actually do this on live. Once you get to a cushion of about 10%, and I don't take profits, by the way. I don't take my payouts. I just let the account grow. A lot of people do need payouts to, pay whatever they have to. But once I get to about 10%, which is up here, I start scaling by 0.8 to 1% at most. 1% is like, I'm so confident in this trade that everything's going to go well. And so if you do like a 1% trade and it fails, you'll be back down to here. Kind of. It's not to scale.
Yeah.
But then if you win a 5RR at 1%, you're going to be up here. So then your steps become way larger, if that makes sense. Like here you lost 2RR because you traded during news by accident or something. You lost another one, and then you made 6RR on a 1% mover, then you're back up here. So it's about leveraging kind of these steps to your advantage. And so when you start, you have to start off with baby steps so you can have that big error field. But once you get up here and you're just chilling, yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that. So currently, I'll risk anywhere between 0.2 to 0.4 because I just passed another challenge on Top Step. So this is how I'll kind of nurture the account, build it up small, and then once it scales up, I just increase the steps there, and then you're good. Any other rules I have? Or like tips? I'm trying to think. Biggest tip, especially if you're starting out and you haven't traded any of these assets, go on to here. This actually happened to me, what was it, a couple days ago. I was trading, I think it was like corn futures or something. And I entered a trade and I was up 6RR. And then I tried to go close the trade because it was 2 p.m. And I didn't realize the market had closed at 11 a.m. So I was just stuck in this trade open. And then the moment the market opened, it kind of just dumped a little bit. I think it went down like 1 or 2RR for me. And so I lost. I gave up a little bit of my gains because I wasn't paying attention to the market hours. So if you're always paying attention to these, like if I were to jump to this market, the hours are going to be completely different. You can see here, they've been closed here for a while. So pay real close attention to that because you might not realize it, but so many times I go on to place a trade on an asset I don't personally know, and I go and look, and then it's like, oh shoot, they close in 11 minutes, And so that's been really helpful. Another thing, use the indicator to see if it's a asset that is good for you to trade. I kind of throw in my account size in there, how much I'm risking per trade, my entry time frame, and then real quick, I can just glance through it and see if it's an asset worth putting money into. Because if you enter, a very illiquid asset with a large account, you're going to get smoked. So yeah, I mean, this indicator has been a glory for me, bro. Look at when it's green and when it's yellow and when it's red.
Yeah.
Green moves, yellow and red stable. Yellow and red kind of just back and forth a little bit, back and forth a little bit. It does move, but the odds of you getting chopped out in this is so high. And then green, like this is the trade. I didn't catch today, unfortunately, but I missed a few trades yesterday as well. I need to get on top of it because I'm just leaving out so much money on the table. So yeah, any questions you have though?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this indicator is very great. I also wanted to ask, do you somehow plan on adding it somehow on FX replay? Because it's a really good tool and it's only available like on TradingView.
Yeah,
So,
I can. I just don't want to give away the source code to the company, if that makes sense, It
okay,
was so
okay, I
expensive to
understand.
build, and then for them, like, so I work with FX Replay, so I know how this works. You
Yeah.
don't actually give them the source code. You have to explain to them step by step on how it works. And to
Oh,
program
okay. So
this was hundreds or even thousands, I don't even know, of lines. That took me so many days to develop. And so if I were to tell them, and if this happens, then you have to do this, like it's just so
uh,
much. So
yeah, too much
um,
explanation, too much work.
I've talked to them before about adding indicators, and they have to copy it pretty much because it's in their own code
Mm,
base, or I don't know how
okay.
they do it. Um, but yeah, like dude, these are beautiful entries. Entry right here. Um,
Yeah.
what time was this? Okay, I wasn't awake, but like, geez, man, entry right here, entry right here, just goes like. So I don't know if you want to start a back test. Generally on Zoom, I'm limited to like 40 minutes or something per call
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have the
Yeah,
premium.
we can do a backtest, but one more question about problems, if you don't mind. Uh, but do you have like specific time when you no longer take trades? Because I know that like you said the markets like there's like those close hours. So is there like any time like when you no longer are able to trade, like you don't take trades anymore?
So like
If
after
that
I
makes
hit a
sense.
certain amount of profit or like an RR target, something like that, or
No, like because you showed me like the markets, they have their closing hours. So if, for example, there's like a trade which is happening like pretty close to market close
oh, okay,
hours, like
I have
I don't know,
the
one
perfect
hour.
answer for you. We go here
Okay.
on your back test and you click on any of them. We'll go with this
Yeah.
one. And then I go here and I see, oh, my average win duration is 4 hours and 39 minutes. So that means
Yeah.
if my average winner is about 3%, I want at least, I do about half to 70% of within that time frame. So for example, my general rule of thumb right now on the live markets is all my trades are closing at 2 p.m. That's a rule. However, I can enter a trade within 2 hours of market close. So the latest I'll enter a trade will probably be around 12 because that'll give me the perfect amount of buffer for it to move at least half of my expected to help out my edge, right? So
Yeah.
that would mean around 1.5% or in RR, 80% of that. So that's my rule. If you like, everyone has different rules and whatever. And it's very simple because my average loser is 24 minutes. So within the first half hour, I already know if it's going to be a winner or not. So it keeps it very, very simple.
Yeah.
Um, so if you want, we can actually, what was this, gold? I don't want to mess with my Bitcoin back test, but if anything, when was the date range here? What day are we? Yeah, so we can actually just extend this back test to current date and then continue that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so this gold, go to chart. Yeah, so I'll kind of walk you through my thought process. It's only 16 days worth of data, so I don't know if we'll catch anything that good. And it is looking a little choppy. So 4 hour, I'll walk you through what I see. Um, I trade the 4 hour, 1 hour, 20, and then 5 minute. I know other people that trade the 25 minute, the 30 minute. You get to customize it however you want. But 4 hour, all this is telling me is that I'm looking for longs here. But because it is market close, it's past 12. All I'll do is come here and do next day open, and it'll put me at, oh, next day open. There we go. And it'll put me at 4 a.m. my time, which is when I kind of start getting ready for the markets. Perfect. And now I know what I'm looking for, right? There's been some sort of accumulation on the 4 hour ready for this market to go long. That's all I'm looking at. I'm not looking at specifics like what did the candle look like or anything. That's all I need to know from this time frame. Jump down to the hourly. Just make sure the price action isn't too insane. Like, it's not rocket science. It just takes a lot of experience to realize, oh, this is clean price action. I could probably pull something out of here,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to see the market, right here. This would be an atrocious kind of entry. You're going down, MA's down, like just bad. So very good, sloped up, moving far away from the MAs, lots of strength. Wicks aren't too wild, like it looks good. Jump down to the 20-minute. Okay, and now I kind of just play candle by candle. Nothing. I do not trade red news, by the way. And my
Yeah.
general rule of thumb with red news is I don't trade. The earliest I'll take a trade with red news is an hour and a half before red news, because that gives me my buffer gap to get some sort of profit in. And what I've learned is sometimes, like, how do I explain this? This is red news. This was your entry down here. And then if price is up here, generally it'll gap down, not far enough to stop you out, but far enough to still close with a profit. Or sometimes red news goes crazy, dude. And I've gotten
Yeah.
giant gaps. So it can be a little dangerous, but as long as you have a buffer of like 3 to 5 RR, you're going to be completely fine. But yeah, red news, people love to trade red news, but they trade it so incorrectly. And I kind of use the red news as a catalyst, whether it's going to go up or down. It's still part of my edge. I've still kind of tested that. So we got 10 minutes to kind of get a back test going. So another rule of thumb, especially with candles like these, because we do have weakness up front, up top, and we have strength on the bottom. So it's kind of like creating this cushion right here. And so my general rule of thumb, this is kind of a secret I haven't told anyone, is I look at the size of the candle and I compare it. So size of the candle, we can do a quick comparison, 4.1, and I look at the size of the wick, 2.7, 2.6. As long as no wick on either side is larger than the body and we closed on the higher end, it's a good buy stop for me, because these candles love to run. So 20-minute, this is a valid buy stop right over this high. ATR, here, let me move you out the way. ATR is 3.9, so this is actually perfect, 4.0, and boom. Wait, 0.8% risk, I think. So now, because we're $1 million in profit, or 700,000, then I can just easily risk 1% and increase those steps, So now it can either go better quicker or worse quicker. And I'm okay taking that risk. So 20-minute, yep. Let me make this full screen. If it will allow me to. There we go. Okay. So that's my entry. Probably going to take a loss here. Not surprised. Oh, shoot. I should have used my ATR on the 5-minute. Oh, it didn't even tap me in. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I chose the wrong ATR. I jumped down to the 5-minute after right here. So wait for an entry, nothing. This is an entry, but it's anticipatory, right? So I kind of have to wait for more strength to come in. It didn't. Okay, another buy stop right over this high. Lots of strength came into the market. Not a biggest fan. Do you know why? The body is very small compared to the wick. So I just don't take it. Probably goes, fails. Wait for a new entry. Oh, and it's 12. And I'm done trading for the day. So we didn't get anything. Jump to the next day. Probably not going to get anything because we're starting to go sideways. I jumped up to the hourly. Nothing. Next day. That simple. 4 hour. Probably going to start shaping back up. Wait for the hourly to close. Nope. And that's all I need to see. Okay, now we're going to change in direction. Now, because we are on the lower time frames, I trade these micro trends right here. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but there's so much money here. Like it helps my edge quite a bit. I'll get an extra 50% a year just by trading these small runners. So what I'll do, invert 20-minute, and that's your entry. Assuming there's no red news. Strength candle 20, yeah. So this would have been your entry. I'm just gonna kind of replay there. It's 6:30 in the morning, so I'm awake looking at the charts. It wants to load. I'll show you again all the time frames, right? So 4 hour moving clearly,
Yeah.
far away from the MAs, so lots of strength, no weird like sus things going on. This wick, some people would argue, is like choppiness or whatever. No, this is showing an insane amount of strength coming into the market. Like I like to see this. Hourly, very strong. 20-minute, very strong. These are very questionable candles sometimes because sometimes they'll just skyrocket off, or
Yeah.
sometimes they'll be the quickest tap out ever. So we'll see. Take a sell here. 5.9. Boom. Boom. You get entered in. Probably take a -1 here. Nothing new. Yep. I want to get a trade where it runs. Why isn't it stopping me out? Bro. Hang on, let me
It's
refresh.
weird.
There's something going on here. Yeah, I don't know if
By
that
the
did.
way, do you still look at the daily? Because I noticed like you don't really
Very,
glance at
very
it.
rarely. Very rarely.
Oh, okay.
For example, if I want to see just the overall trend, like if someone tells me to do a prediction on gold for the next year, I'd look at the daily.
Yeah.
But aside from that, not really. Because it's
Mhm.
just so far disconnected. I used to, and it was so unnecessary. So here, it's 4 in the morning, coming on red news here. So probably not going to be a tradable day. However, I still want to see how it plays out. Red news was here. So what I do is I wait on my 20-minute, 40 minutes after red news to be able to trade. That's my rule. I used to do an hour, but I realized
Mhm.
generally 40 minutes after red news, something nice likes to form. Okay, something might be forming here. We had a red news play out. It's 10 in the morning. Let's go look at the 4 hour just to make sure we're in line. Good. I generally don't like to trade this 4 hour chop. Um, I actually did a back test on Bitcoin with this kind of price action, and it was like this year round. I'd still make money, but it didn't offset the struggle of like going to place the order and all that. So generally, these trades like to just chop around, whiplash a little bit. Hourly good, 20-minute good. So I'd consider a long over this high. It's 10 in the morning, so it's all good. ATR of 2.2. And I used to set my buy stops a lot higher, something like this. But I learned that if you're going to
Mhm.
get tapped in, you're going to get tapped in either way. So I'd rather prefer the buffer to be below the stop out instead of
Yeah.
like getting buy stopped here and then it coming back down a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of my general rule.
So
Okay.
what if that candle is like with the full body closed? Do you still do it this way, or you move it a little bit higher then?
No,
The
I'll still do it like that.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I know it's changed a little bit. Okay, 20-minute is still valid, even though we're forming an invalidation candle, which isn't really valid simply because of the reason that you can see the candle, the wick is huge.
Yeah.
I hate how my screen keeps coming small. Okay, so 5-minute ATR 2.2, and I'll update my ATR as things go. Get tapped in, get tapped out. Hello? Okay, I don't know what's going on with FX replay. I don't know if it's because I set a date forward or something. So if you want, our call is about to end here in about 3 minutes. We can take a very short break and then we can actually walk through an entire back test. Or I know you might have to go to bed soon. So we can either schedule for
I mean,
tomorrow.
I think I can do another one call if you have time for that.
Tonight, like right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it'll be at most 40 minutes. Because we'll start a new back test.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this one, so we'll actually go ahead and do that now. Show menu, kind of go home, and then we'll
And
do.
also, I wanted to ask this question about the MAs. Do you like look at them at all, like when you're taking a setup, like if they're too extended or something like that,
I
or
used
you
to,
don't really care about them?
but I realized in a market that's extended, let me open up my trading view. Is this good? Yeah. So in a market that's already extended and moving, I can show you examples so you see what I mean. If we can get, I think gold has moved recently. Hang on. Okay, so if we go and look at gold here, I want a momentum kind of thing. So I have my MAs a lot tighter than most people. I like them very close to price action. So for example, are you saying like MAs away from price or MAs like versus each other? What do you mean when you say
Away from price when it's like a little bit further. The
so
price
like
has
up
like
here?
run away from the. Yeah.
Yeah, I do consider that. Because more likely
Okay.
than not, no matter what example you look at, it's always going to snap back. So, like, if you take a trade here, look at how high you are. Like, I'm expecting that snap back.
Yeah.
Then the moment we kind of
Mm-hmm.
converge, we build off. Nice, nice, nice. We get far away, we snap back. We snap back, right? We snap
Yeah.
back, right? So, like, at any point, even right here on this candle, because this one's actually interacting with MA, at any point past any candle that's not interacting with MA, I'm anticipating that snapback. On gold this morning, that's exactly what I was anticipating. I even sent it out in the messages. I said, I want to see this price
Yeah.
snap back to the MAs. It never did, and it
Mm-hmm.
just kept going. And maybe you get your 3RR out of this move, but trying to replicate that long term is just going to hurt you so bad. MAs far away, snap back. Far away, kind of tried to snap back, but didn't really. Kind of just continued going, and then we got that snap back, but I didn't get an entry today. So, yeah. Yeah, I do consider that. And then like separation of MAs, I don't really consider. It doesn't tell you anything too useful. It's just like the short-term price versus the longer-term price averages, which isn't helpful. Interaction between MAs, I definitely certainly look at. Those are like my key points of interest. In all directions too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this new thing real quick. I think this is where the best stuff will come, because you get to see it in action. So we can do a little back test if you want.
Yeah, sure. I already thought there was like a lot of sauce in the first part.
Nah, bro. So yeah, I want to show you good examples here. So what we'll do is we'll start with a basic 300K account. So the way I kind of build my personal self, this is gonna be a little bit more private, but I do 150Ks with Top Step and then just scale the hell out of those. And I never, like I said, take profits or anything. I just kind of grow the
Yeah.
accounts infinitely. So we can do gold to end of year. So we'll start at May 24 to December 2024. Just to get these last like 6 months or whatever it's been a price action. Is it XAU? Yeah. Is it XAU or XAG? No, XAG is silver, I
If you're
think.
saying gold, XAU, then yeah,
Or
because
is it?
XAG is
We
XAU.
so we can do Zag or
GC.
we can do Forex or we can do futures. I like
I
futures.
mean, yeah, you can do futures.
Not that it changes. So we'll do May 24 and just start from the beginning. And then we'll do to December. There's no way we're going to get all the way through, but it'll be
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
starting point.
Mm-hmm.
December 24 to the 1st. And if you want, I can either continue this
Mm-hmm.
later or yeah, so 300K gold call just to make sure I don't mix it in with my data collection. Cool. So let's get started. Well, I'll try to go fast, but stop me and ask me questions because
Okay.
it'll help you too. Let me make sure we're recording. Good. All right. So first thing, jump on the 4-hour. All I want to see is sells here. I'm going to skip a candle so we line up with our session here. What is going on here? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start at 4 in the morning, my session. We have a lot of red news this day. So if I jump down to that hourly, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing I want to see out of this market right now. So I'm just staying out. If anything, I want to see bullishness, or I'm going to be flipping the chart a lot, by the way. So when I say bullishness, I just mean upward, because technically
Yeah.
this is bearishness. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so right now I just want to see bullishness on the hourly, and I'm not getting any of it. So then I'm done. That was my entire trading day. Didn't
Yeah.
touch a single trade. Awesome. And then I just come here, go to the next day, because I only trade those hours I told you. 4 hour, we're starting to get that bullishness we're looking for potential continuations. So maybe now, today, this day, I step down and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for my 20-minute validations. There you go. No red news. I do trade yellow news, however. And even though like it's only 40 minutes afterwards, so we're good. So that's your entry, and I'll replay it and then go back to the 4 hour and hourly and show you what it looked like at that time. That's something I do a lot in my back testing. Look at the strength that came into the 4 hour. Look at the hourly. Look at the 20-minute. This is just perfection. I love these strength candles like that. That's what I love to see. Jump down to the 5 minute. 5 minute ATR is going to be 4.1. So I just come here. Oh, it's going to be a sell. Go to my 4.1, which is a giant stop. And then we're going to risk 0.8 because it is a new account. So I'll kind of show you how I scale. And then at some point we'll jump to 1%. So cool. Take our trade, probably break even. Still not at break even. Now we're at break even. Why? Well, first of all, this probably didn't go 1 and 2. And even then, if it did, yeah. So it didn't. This has every opportunity to come back down to these regions to mitigate whatever price action was down here, buy up the orders, however you want to explain it. Now, we pushed up higher, broke through all this structure, this intermediary, there's going to be a lot of stop losses, a lot of buy stops, a lot of sell stops here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we created this right here. This is telling me that there was so much buying that we left some sort of demand zone down here where price could tap back into it, absorb it, and then continue going, right? So this is the narrative I'm building. But at no point should the price come back to even remotely close to my stop loss down here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it one more strength candle to hopefully close above this high right here. And then I will move to break even. Nothing yet. And boom, take a loss. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Jump back up to the 20-minute. Another rule I have is no more than 2 losses a day. Keep it very, very simple on all assets included. So I take my 2 losses and I'm done for the day. And that was my entire day. So then I jump to the next day. Look at the 4 hour. 4 hour good, hourly good, 20-minute good. We're a little weak on the hourly and 20-minute, so I'm going to give this market time. Hopefully this red news will be our catalyst to just kind of fly off. That's what I'm anticipating from this red news. Okay, we flew off, but in the opposite direction, which is still good because it's building this narrative. Now, as I flip it, I'm starting to see, oh, this is starting to look like an accumulation a little bit. We're probably going to start to continue higher. So what I'll do is give it one more hour, or 4 hour candle because we do have more red news coming up. Oh, and it flipped. That quickly, the narrative can shift. And now, for this short period right here, I was looking at sells again. But of course, I don't trade it because I wait for the 4 hour to close. That's actually been one of the bigger changes to my system as well. Because if we step down here to the hourly, or even the 20-minute, sometimes there'll be entries in here, and they're invalid for me because the 4 hour hasn't closed. I don't know what it wants to do because at some point, this was really strong bearishness in this case. This was very strong bearishness, and there was probably some entry right here in this wick. However, it's not validated. Like the candle hasn't closed. It could easily flip all the way back up here, and then it's a completely different narrative. So I wait for the narrative to kind of solidify. So I'm going to skip again till 4 in the morning and look at what's happening. That accumulation is starting to play out again, right? So at this point, we flipped, and I was like, oh no, it's going to continue down. And then we flipped again, and I'm like, no, it's going to continue up. But notice how I didn't take trades. I'm waiting for the close. Now we have a strong close. It's the next day. Now I'm looking for longs. Jump down, 20-minute. Okay, and now I'm just kind of waiting for a good entry. Wait for it to come back down, and then right here, one more candle. Potential entry, this is too weak, so I'm going to wait for more sideways. More sideways. We're coming in at 12. Yeah, so I'm done for the day. Notice that nothing interesting happened here at all. There was not a single entry. I considered this one, but look at how weak it was. If it would have closed up here, yeah, maybe. But, okay, jump to the next day. And notice how we just went like 4 days without taking a single trade. Once again, we're in this chop. Generally, I don't like to trade within this chop. Sometimes I'll get an edge out of it. Okay, and that was another day. Coming into a new day. Oh, a new day went and nothing happened. Because if you jump down to the hourly, what are you going to trade in here? Like, you got to get real lucky trading any of this. Like, you'd take a buy stop here, a loss, another buy stop here, a loss, another buy stop here, a loss. Like there's nothing here. Okay. So that is why I love the 4 hour, because it shows me without even having to jump down lower. I used to like jump down to the hourly and say like, oh, okay, would I have taken anything in here? The 4 hour is the easiest filter that I have to just look at it and say, nope, nothing here. Now I wait. Coming in at 4 in the morning, what's happening now? This accumulation model is starting to play out. I want to see this just blow up. This is like if we jump up to the daily, which is one of the few times I will, this is our target up here. At some point, we want to take this out so hard. Jump down to the 4 hour, we're starting to build up. Money's coming in. If you studied Wyckoff, you have your test right here on the 4 hour, and hopefully this is going to be our catapult up. That's what's kind of going through my mind.
Yeah.
Good? Okay, so then I jump down to the 20 minute, and lo and behold, look at what I have here. Beautiful entry. Look at that strength, right? Compared to these size candles. Like this would have been a no-go. This is like a, oh, this is beautiful. So jump up to 4 hour, 4 hour good, hourly good. Now, on the live market, something I do consider, which is kind of hard to consider right now because it's not live, is looking at when the candle is going to close. If we're anywhere close to the 4 hour close, then I'll take it. Because the odds of the 4 hour reversing within the last 20 minutes of the candle are like, it's got to take so much money, right? And so very, very unlikely for that to happen. Versus if this 4 hour candle just opened and we're all the way up here, chances are it's probably going to close somewhere down here. So that's something you kind of got to be cautious of. This is halfway through the 4 hour candle. These two candles right here form this 4 hour right here. So I can kind of like predict on FX replay, but so 4 hours okay, hourly is okay, 20 minutes good, 5 minutes good. So I'm going to take a long right over this high with a 3.6 stop. Something like that. Can move it just a little bit further down. Oh, didn't mean to do 1% risk. There we go, 0.8. Get buy stopped in. Already, what do I do here? This is one of those hard points where I don't know if I want to move to break even or not. We did hit our 1 to 2 rule, which is very cool. But what could happen is we get a giant wick down here and then it goes. I'm not willing to risk it for that, right? Okay, now we're getting that retracement I'd love to see. Now, if we can sustain this and push off higher, then it's going to be so good of a move. Boom. And what is this telling me right now? Money supporting it at whatever terms you want to use, imbalance, what people use fair value gaps, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the idea behind it, like the thought process. And so now we're starting to push away from it. If price were to come back to break even, it's not going to come back to tap me out and then go. It's going to come back down to just crash, right? So give it time. And notice, if it comes to hit my break even, I'm telling you, it's probably going to hit my stop loss too, down here.
Yeah.
And then remember, I close all my trades at 2 p.m. So no matter where we are in the trade, I could be up 0.25R and I'm still going to take a total, stop out at 2 p.m. So I'm looking at a 1 to 3R right now. And if there's no structure built above 1 to 3, I'm not going to even plan to partial at all. So I'm still running this, right? Boom. Oh, it's 135. So we're getting close. Now right here, I'm going to move 70% partial to this low because it's structure above 1 to 3. So that means if I take my 70% partial right here, I'm going to get at least 1 R out of the move, right? Because if we do 0.7 times 3, you're getting 2.1, right? So I'm at least filling up for 1 loss. And then I'm going to trail it a little bit more aggressively, waiting for 2 p.m. So a couple more candles. It's 2 p.m. I automatically close my trade here. And we're up 5R. Done. And that was my trading day. That's actually what happened today on the markets. I was up here and I just had to close. Go to the next day. Look at what's happening. That schematic that we thought about from this candle is playing out, going to this high on the daily. So jump back up to 4 hour, hourly, 20. So 20 minute, I'm waiting for the same thing again. It's so repetitive. It's kind of annoying. We got red news, so I don't trade about an hour and a half before red news. So I'm just going to let this play out. And then 40 minutes after red news, so on this candle, I can start considering trades again. Okay, we have something coming in. I like to jump very quickly. 4 hour good, hourly good, 20 minute good. Once again, the same rule that I had on the 4 hour where I want to see confirmation, like a candle close of strength before I get in. I kind of have to jump back down to the 20 minute and see, oh shoot, we're 20 minutes into this 1 hour candle. So very likely we're going to get a little bit of chop before we actually get a move. Because that's just what I've tested and shows what the markets move for me. So if anything, yeah, this is a valid entry. I'm a little hesitant because it's the first strength out of this hourly candle, and I'll take it just to show you because it's technically still part of my edge, just I don't like it. So we'll do like a 2.1 here. And then I'm almost certain this is going to be a loss, 0.8. So 20-minute. What time is it? Yeah, we're still good. Okay, now it's getting a lot cleaner because this hourly strength is holding, right? We're not crashing back down.
Yeah.
We're 40 minutes into the hourly candle and we're still holding.
So basically, you're like what you implemented is you're basically waiting like for a higher time frame, like an hour or 4 hour to be pretty close to the end of the candle closure before you take a trade.
Yeah, otherwise the odds of it coming back down to take you out are pretty high, right? There's so much movement within this 1 hour candle, or if this were a 1 hour, like look at how much variation there is from the open to the close. That's how much it
Yeah.
moved. So you kind of want to wait till the close or the strength is shown that it's going to last before you get in.
So interesting.
Yeah,
Never thought
it's
of such a
definitely
thing.
something different because it's not so simple. It's not like oh, just do this and that. It requires a lot of testing to kind of see these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So one more 20-minute candle, and that will complete this hourly candle with a little bit of strength. So good. Okay, so this is looking a little bit better from my end. I kind of like this entry a lot more. Okay. I do not take trades after 12, so I'm keeping a sharp eye on this. Oh, and we got tapped in at 12, so that's unfair, but okay. We take a loss there. Go to the next day. Cool. Okay, we're starting to crash back down. What's my anticipation? Immediate anticipation is, okay, we're just kind of mitigating some sort of uneven price action within here to build back up. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm not looking to take sells or anything because some people on the hourly are like, oh yeah, sells. You could probably, but no, I'm good. That's too much work. So now just wait for the 4 hour to line back up. We got red news coming up. Perfect. Look at what's happening. Now we're building some sort of intermediary strong structure here to hopefully come and take this out. So once again, I'm looking for longs again. A whole day passed. I didn't get anything. And then a couple days later or a day later, something lines up. Unfortunately, we do have red news here in like 40 minutes, so I can't trade anything. Wait for the red news to play out. Nothing. Yeah. What time is this? 10:40. Look at the 4 hour. 4 hour good. Hourly good. 20-minute good. 5-minute good for long. And this is what I'm doing every day on the markets. So we're going at 2. ATR of about 2. Still keeping an eye on the 20-minute. Sometimes, yeah, these are nice. When you get like a double validation, another candle that's shaping up very nicely, these just give me extra confidence sometimes. Okay, we're coming into 12, so I'm probably going to want to cancel here soon. Okay, get tapped in. Okay, a couple things I can do here. This is going to be a very strange rule and unique. You might not understand it at first, but what's going on here on the lower time frames is I'm understanding from this point to this point, selling came in. That's how we managed to close here, push back down, and then push back up. So if we jump down to 1 minute, you'll be able to see that. We pushed up, back down, and back up. That is telling me that money is supporting this key level somewhere around here. Like generally, you're not going to want to see price go below here. Otherwise, very likely it's going to crash down, right? It's the whole idea of like momentum in the market. So you can either move to break even now, or you can wait for one more stronger push on the 5 minute down and then a breakthrough. So we'll see what happens. I'll kind of decide on the spot. If we break above this high and close with strength, then I'll move to break even. This is a more indecisive point because we're coming into 1 p.m. where all the liquidity is kind of pushing out of the market. So I'll just move to break even now. Take my break even. Cool. And then we'll see what would have happened. 2 p.m. So we would have closed there anyway. Nothing big. 4 hour. Once again, still following that same motion. Doesn't really change. Your analysis shouldn't change like throughout the entire week. Like this entire week, I'm just looking for us to take out this high. If it wants to load. Let me refresh here. Okay. So 4 hour, where are we at? Yeah, so on the hourly, I already know we're going to be not in a good place. So on the hourly, I'm just going to wait for that bullishness to come through. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know what's going
I
on.
think FX replay is crashing or something.
I was hoping it wasn't my Wi-Fi, but at least you can hear me. Yeah, so the hourly isn't in a good shape. So what I'll do is we have red news coming up next. So I'm hoping that this red news is going to catapult us up huge. Let's see. There we go. Okay, we get a nice strong push. I don't trade 40 minutes until after red news, so I'll give it a couple more candles. Okay, this is a potential entry here. It's a little bit more choppy and like weird to look at, but look at the 4 hour strength pushing up higher, hourly as well, 20 minutes as well. This is an okay entry. Look at the strength that came in. Look at how far away we are from the MA. So this is one of those risk ones that I'll take just for the hell of it. Sometimes they run and sometimes they don't, but the few times that they do run make up for all the times they don't. So that's just how I choose to put my risk. Set it at the high. 0.8, good. Okay, 20 minute is still valid. If anything, I'd want to see another validation on the 20 to get in. Okay, get in. Move to break even. The reason I moved to break even this time is because we pushed so far above. Like this is way more than 2 RR, and I'm not going to risk it, right? Just take a break even at that point. And then waiting for the structure break back down. Okay, cool. And then build back up. It has so much cushion to build back up. And if it's going to fail and hit my SL right here, my break even, it's definitely going to take out my SL down here. So I'm okay with that. Look at what happens. Beautiful, man. Like instead of managing here or managing like down here, no, I wait for the market to just do whatever the hell it wants. And then I follow through with it. Like I'm okay. Like this probably went 1 to 4, 1 to 5R. Let's see. 1 to 4, 4.5, and I'm still at break even. Like that's kind of unbelievable to think about. Other people would be like, dude, just take profits. But no, imagine I took 70% off here at 2RR. Well, great. You secured your 1.2R or whatever that might be. Okay. So now coming in at 10, we still have plenty of time. I'm going to give it another strong push up, hopefully. Okay. And now I can start managing. What low is this? Okay. This is at 3RR. I'd be okay managing 2RR of my move here, aka 70%. So I'll manage 70% at this low. Oh, what just happened here? We broke down structure in fractally, so intermediary, broke back down and then pushed up higher. This key level wants to be supported. If this key level breaks, very likely this key level will break. So cool. Now I'm up a management of about 3.89R. Usually I don't put it right to the low, by the way. And I give it the space it needs.
Yeah, so you basically look like for demand zones to
all sorts
like,
of fractal demand to build the narrative. So now I'm going to take off 70%. 70% is off. Now I go to the 20 minute and I look at the 20 minute and say, okay, if I were to manage here, is it worth it? And the answer is no. I have 30% left of my position remaining at less than 3RR. That's not even going to make it worth it, right? So now I just wait on the 20 minute. And if money wants to come in, great. If not, I'm at a break even. Okay, 2 p.m. rolls around. I'm from this extra partial that I still have running, I made an extra 3K. I'm okay with that. And I take it off the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to the next day. 4 hours kind of going sideways. Hourly is not very nice right now, so I'm just going to skip this day. Like I already know going into the day if there's going to be a trade. Not a single trade that day. Look at the 4 hour, very, very clean. Hourly clean, 20 minute clean. And now we just wait. Bingo. Very clean. These like to fail quite often, actually, but they're still part of my edge, so I still take them. So 2.7R ATR stop. Cool. Move to break even. I want to see this crash down again, somewhere to around here, and then build back up. Let's see if that happens. Crashes down. Builds back up. Hopefully it continues going. Bro, this is just beauty. You cannot deny this. Okay,
Yeah.
70% to this low. 70% to this low. So we're up 5R. Well, a lot more than 5R, but 5R managed. 70% to this low. Okay, that played a little quick, but you take your 70%. Let's see if we get back up there or somewhere near it so I can take my 70%.
Mhm.
Come on. Come on. Okay, so I'll just take my 70% partial here just to like simulate that we did. Okay, and then jump back up to a 20-minute, and it's the same narrative, like same thing going on the 20-minute. Am I really gonna like leave the rest, the remaining 30% at 2RR? No, that's gonna leave me less than like half an RR. So if anything, I just wait on the 20-minute. If it wants to break me even, great. And most times it does. But sometimes you'll get big runners. It's still nothing to manage to. There's been no fractal sort of reaccumulation besides this side price, right? And so I'm okay with price reaching all the way down to here and then building back up, just how we were doing it on the 5-minute earlier. Oh, it's 2 p.m. So close the trade. We secured an extra 6K by leaving this running, man. Like people underestimate that, right? So probably secured an extra 2RR from that extra small move. Go to the next day. Jump up to 4-hour. 4-hour good. Hourly is weak, so I'm not touching this. And there might be an entry here. So 4-hour good, hourly good, 20-minute good. Still nothing. Like if you're crazy, you could take this entry, but it's too kind of guessy. Like you kind of have to guess, because if you take this entry, then that meant you took this entry, and that meant you took this entry. You see, they all look exactly the same. So you're kind of guessing there, and I don't like that. I like to see strength. So yeah, wait for sideways. Oh, and it's 1 p.m. So we're done for the day. Go up to 4-hour. 4-hour's starting to shape up very nicely. Oh, and look at what just happened. We hit our daily target. How do we know that was going to happen? You know? So 4-hour good, hourly good. So if anything, I'm going to give this market a little bit of time, because yes, if we jump down to a 20-minute right away, this looks like a perfect entry, doesn't it? But then we jump up to the 4-hour and see this 4-hour candle just formed. What are the odds that this 4-hour candle is going to go down, up, left, right, inside of it, right? So we don't know what there's still so much uncertainty. This is the first candle into that 4-hour candle, the first hourly candle. So we're 25% done with this 4-hour candle. We still have another 3 hours where this could chop back and forth inside. So I'm okay. I'll skip it, right? And I'm going to skip this entry. Let's see what happens. You get in, you get out. That simple. Now, if we go look at the hourly candle, this 4-hour is now comprised of these. So we're almost complete with this 4-hour candle. This 4-hour candle almost closed at the high of the range of this fractal range right here. So this is very awesome, because now we can take an entry with a lot more certainty behind the move. Nothing, nothing. And it falls back down. Cool. Look at what the 4-hour candle did. We did close at that high, no entry, and it just failed back down. Cool. Okay, 4 hours starting to fail now. We hit our target on the daily. We're probably going to come for some sort of sideways and then build back up. I don't look at the daily, so I shouldn't really care. But 4-hour, just going to wait for a build back up. What time was this? No, this is 8 in the morning. This is actually perfect. So let me show you an example here of where I do trade counter trend. Okay, this is not valid for me yet. We're still playing with the MAs, going back and forth. Jump down to the hourly. We get insane selling, and it wasn't even red news. We do have red news coming up, though. So red news in 4 hours, which is probably going to be at around 12. Yeah. This is where I will take counter trend, as people consider it. It's the same situation here. Giant bearishness, beautiful delivery. Giant bearishness off this candle, beautiful delivery. Nothing here. No giant bearishness here. As you can see, no giant bearishness here. Look at the difference. Giant bearishness here. And you can go back and like find it yourself.
Yeah. So basically looking for like big money candles
Yeah.
to prove.
Yeah, I just kind of follow the money. If like, yeah, technically we are looking for longs, but somebody, some institution, some big person with money decided to like sell the hell out of this. And generally they don't do it to lose money. They're always looking to make money. So like my intuition is this, but price action decided to say something else right now. So I'm like, okay, I'll kind of follow the short path off like the main track and get my profit out of here. So good. Jump down to a 20-minute. And this is your entry. Now, a cool entry I actually took today. I do want to elaborate on this because this was a unique entry that I'll still take. And this goes more for when you're trading on the live market. Sometimes you'll get onto the live market like today, and you'll see this beautiful entry on the 20-minute. I believe it was this one. Yep. So as soon as it turned green, I saw this beautiful entry, and I went down to the 5-minute, and I wanted to get in on this so bad, but I was kind of late to it. Like this candle, what the hell? This candle had already formed right here, and it was already pushing higher. So there's a few things you can do. You can either choose to get buy stopped at that key level, like let's suppose price was here when you saw it, and you can just market entry here. But that's kind of dangerous because now it's no longer really an edge. It's kind of you like buying here, and like your stop loss is more randomized. Versus here, this is what you want, what I want. So what I ended up doing is setting up a limit order. So when it came and potentially tapped back in, then I'd get tapped in at the exact price that I wanted to get tapped into. And if it didn't, if it just went from here, I'm okay with that. I missed it, and that's on me. But there's that small chance that this is the candle that tapped me in, right? If I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been, set a limit order here and I wanted to like market execute or something like that, yeah, this wouldn't have worked out. But the very fact that I set a limit order at my original entry, even though price had already displaced this far, it was what allowed me to get in on the move. So we'll continue
Yeah.
here because this is kind of a similar situation where you might have gotten on this candle and you're like, oh no, it's going without me. You just set up a limit order, and if the low gets beat before you get buy stopped in, then you just cancel it. Otherwise, you're in on it. So let's go look at the 4 hour. 4 hours clean, hourly is clean, 20-minute. Yeah, so this is one of the situations where I'd be like, oh shoot, I hopped on the market late, but it's still a valid entry. Let's see if my ATR lines. ATR is 8.9, something like this. And it's like, okay, technically, if you would have taken your entry at this high, you would still be in it. So why can't I get it
Yeah.
in it now, right? So I'll just go here, set up my buy stop.
Also, you said in like some of your videos that you consider like if the candle, the 20-minute candle is like too big, you don't take those candles.
No,
Or
now
do
I
you still
do.
do that?
Yeah, that's a
Oh, no,
change.
you
Now
do.
I do. Because sometimes the next
Okay.
candle after it is like 2 or 3 times the size of that one, like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And dude, those
Because I
are the
also
ones that just
noticed
like
this.
cover all the losses. Yeah. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I think it's probably gonna take me out here, but what time is it? Coming in on red news. So generally I like to be in some sort of profit or break even by red news, and we're not. Now this is gold futures, so it is gonna be very reactive to red news. So simply
Yeah.
move to break even at red news, and if you get taken out, great. Oh shit. 2 p.m. right here. So yeah, close the position. You made like 1 RR. Great. So
Yeah.
we made our 1 RR. Go to the 4 hour. Now, if we look at the 4 hour, sorry, I keep clicking the wrong button. If we look at the 4 hour, we're still in this bearish kind of leg. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to come back to that MAs, and then we need a reevaluation point right here. Now, this is where in my older videos, I called it like a no trade zone, because two things can
Mm-hmm.
happen. We're going to continue our downtrend, which is going to become like a larger distribution of all this,
Yeah.
or we're just going to flip back down, right? Or we're going to continue this longer term. Like there's so many options that I just stay out. So 4 hour, I'm still looking for my sells here. Oh, 4 hours lining up. Yeah. So something that can happen is we continue our downtrend here. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking at the immediate price action. So now I just kind of wait. We got red news coming up, so can't really do much here. It's in an hour. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens. What time after red news? Where are we at? 7. Yeah. So I can't trade that. I can only trade after this candle right here. So now you're just kind of waiting. It's 11:40. This wasn't a valid entry. Look at the size of that wick. So kind of just staying out.
Do you also like look at the 20-minute choppiness? Or no,
I
not
used to.
anymore.
I used to. You're gonna find it how like scarily easy this is. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
dude, you used to look at so many things. Now you just like don't care. And I really don't.
Yeah.
Because the choppiness can work in your favor if you get in at the right time. For example, I don't really have to consider choppiness anymore because if there's a strength candle, like I would never take this. Back in the day, I would have, and that's where the choppiness kind of helped me evaluate that.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a strength candle, right? It's so far away from the chop that so much money has entered the market that it's kind of shifted the dynamic, if that makes sense. Like here,
Yeah.
yeah, if back in the day I would have taken entries like this, yeah, I'd like to see the chop. But now strength comes in and I take it and it goes. Like it's the whole idea of a lot of money coming into the market. It's going to shift the entire market dynamic, right?
Yeah, so you
So
no longer look at the 20-minute, not even the 1 hour choppiness.
nope, not at all. The only thing I could
Okay.
consider is the
Okay.
4 hour choppiness. Like if this 4 hour,
All right.
like earlier, you saw this. Like I didn't really want to trade any of this, and I got out without taking a single loss in here. That's when I'll use choppiness to my advantage.
Yeah.
Or like here, chop, chop. Not really chop, but sideways on the 4 hour. Because if there's sideways 4 hour right here, no matter like, let's suppose I'm looking at this candle. It's this current candle, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, do I want to take an entry? The answer is no, because the odds of this next candle just blowing it out of the water are zero. Like, and the
Yeah.
next candle, zero, and the next candle, zero. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of bullishness. Maybe I'll consider. Okay, and entries somewhere right around in here, which you saw me take live just a few minutes ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that entry. So
Yeah.
4 hour. We're gonna continue looking for hourly bullishness here. It's a new day, so I'm looking for this kind of same thing. Chop on the hourly. Technically, I do consider it, but to another extent. I'm not like, oh, I'm not gonna trade this market because it's choppy. It's more of understanding what the market's telling you. Like chop, bad. We break out of it, strength. Like we beat all these highs right here, and now we're pushing away from it. So there's money coming in. I kind of see it that way.
Yeah.
So
So basically look like for the market to break the range, like price.
yep.
To, yeah.
And then there's nothing for that day. And notice what happened the entire day. It would just chopped. So good. Go back up to the 4 hour. Nothing yet. Now we're entering this like choppy or do not trade zone, whatever. So let's see what happens. I just don't trade during any of this price action. Okay, we're starting to build some sort of small accumulation here. If you did Wyckoff, once again, this would be some sort of test to continue higher. And if that holds true, then I'm going to want to get in. And lo and behold, it does. Now, this is at 4 p.m., 10, 12. There we go. So now this is when I'd consider getting into the market. But what happened? We pushed higher, came back into it. This could chop for a little bit. So if anything, I'll jump down to the hourly and wait for some more bullishness. And lo and behold, we just chop and fall off. Okay. Now, there's so many different narratives going on in my head. There's this one where I kind of do want to see this play out. But then there's this one where I don't really want to see it play out, but it is playing out. And then I can get in on both sides, right? I never know when this leg right here is going to end. I don't know if it's going to come all the way down here and then take off, or like here or here. So I want to be as flexible with the larger trend with the smaller, right? They work in unison. So yeah, I'm going to give this market time to show me. Now we're entering this more back and forth on the 4 hour that I don't really like to see. Okay, now we're following the higher time frame trend. Look at this. Now this swing low right here is a spring or a test. And so now I'm going to start following longs again. So let's see what time it is. 7:20 in the morning. Cool. No real good entries here. So I'm just going to wait for the market to play out. 10:40. Nothing. 12 comes along and I'm done for the day. Same thing. Going to wait for the 4 hour. 4 hour, we're in this chop. Like I told you earlier. I'm done. I don't want to look at it. Giant chop. Don't want to touch. Now, maybe considering longs over this high. But I'm going to wait for the market open on my time. Still nothing. We're still chopping. Still chopping. Okay, money's starting to come in at 6 in the morning. I do like this. Notice the difference. Lots of strength. Like, we're starting to push the boundaries of this range, and I like that. So 4 hour good, hourly good, 20-minute good. So now waiting on the 20-minute. Oh, it is 11:40, so there is potential here, but nothing. 2 p.m. rolls around, nothing. Okay. 4 hour, beautiful. Now we can stage one and then build off. Bingo. So this is 4 in the morning. So this is my trading session right on this push. Jump down to the 20. Couple entries. This could have been a potential entry and this could have been a potential entry. So probably close to break even on this one. We'll see what happens. And close, so nothing. On this trade down here, you probably would have made like 2 or 3 RR. Okay, and falls back down. Cool, I'm not touching. I don't know what the market wants to do now. Now, same as here, look at what just happened. Lots of bearishness came into this market, like a lot. Now, on my trading session, I am going to want to get in on that. So this is my trading session. So as this giant candle forms, I'm kind of going to step down to the hourly. So 4 hour, let me delete everything. Our call's about to cut out, by the way. So I don't know if you want to continue this some other time.
Sure. I mean, if you have time, I'm available like almost any day, anytime.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have to. Okay, that's your
Because I
entry.
enjoy this like so much. I already taken like 2 pages of notes as like
No, this is good. Yeah. Yeah, and I know
so much sauce, like so
this
much
will
to
definitely
think
help a
that
lot of people. Because yeah,
yeah,
I've been away from YouTube for a bit, but our call's about to, end. We got like 10
yeah,
seconds or something, but yeah, it was nice talking to you. I'll get this video posted and we'll definitely get on another call.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Hang on. Let's see how we did. Hey, 36K in less than a month. I wouldn't be complaining.
So
Alrighty, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it did record. Otherwise, I'm screwed. Cool. Anyhow, peace out, yo.